Here it is again, the lovely Desoto for 1957. The most excitingly beautiful car in the world today. But styling is only half the story. The 57 Desoto is literally a brand new car. It is all new. New from rubber to roof. New from bumper to bumper. Built for the road. Now, the 1956 Desoto was truly the pace setter. It paced the 500-mile Indianapolis race. It paced the grueling race up Pikes Peak. And in the July issue of Car Life, it was named as the best buy in its class. But did Desoto rest on its laurels? Well, these few stray parts and nuts and bolts are all, absolutely all, that has been carried over from the pace setter of 1956 into the 1957 Desoto. Everything else is new. The wheels are new. The frame is new. The front suspension is new. The rear suspension is new. The power is new. The body is new. And man alive, is the ride ever new? That quiet, smooth, controlled torsion-aire ride that almost completely does away with side sway, bounce, and brake dip. Do you want proof? Well, just take a look at these action photos. This picture was snapped as a 1957 Fireflight and a 1956 Fireflight sped down a brake test strip at 60 miles an hour. When the flag dropped, each driver hit his brakes hard. Now, we'll look at the difference in front-end brake dip. See the difference? The 1957 Desotos have 85% less. Yes, I said 85% less front-end brake dip than last year's cars. Now, you know the 56 pace setter was a fine road car. This dramatic picture gives you an idea of the tremendous advantage we'll have over competition this year. Now we'll see both the 56 and the 57 Desoto speed through this curve. As they go past, watch for the side sway or lean. There they go. Look, identical pictures, but see the difference in side sway. Again, the 56 was a great car on the highway, but just look at that 57. It really hugs that curve. Remember pictures like this you've seen in the past year? We would take pictures of a 56 Desoto and a competitive car going over the same bump at the same speed. In every case, you could see the difference in riding comfort. Okay, here's how the 57 Desoto compares with the 56 on a bad bump. They were going at the same speed, and pictures were taken at the same spot. Yes, sir, good as that 56 was, this 57 Desoto rides even more comfortably, with easier control and safer cruising. Comfort, driver control, safety. You can sell those benefits, and this great new car has got them, and more, too. But right now, let's look at the new suspension system that gives us those qualities. Here's the heart of it, the new heavy-duty torsion springs, which now and forever after render the old coil springs as out of date as the crank. The front end of each torsion spring is rigidly fastened to the lower control arm. The rear end is fastened to a frame crossmember. As the wheel moves up, the torsion spring twists, and in that way, the road shock is absorbed much more efficiently and thoroughly than it ever could be by coils. Now, you might say that the new Desoto torsion suspension has a lifetime spring. It will never need to be replaced. It will go on delivering a soft, level ride for the life of the car. What's more, the torsion spring takes so little space that it lets Desoto lower the entire car. The torsion spring played an important part in creating the low-slung sports car look, that exciting new forward look of the 57 Desoto. But a lower car means more than beauty. It also means that the center of gravity is lower this year, too. This helps steady the car on curves and makes it easy to control at cruising speeds. Safety sphere ball joints are another brand new feature of Desoto's front suspension. The ball is made of oil-lite, a metal that carries its own lubrication. This oil-lite ball makes Desoto manual steering as easy as some cars with power steering. and actually gives the driver a feeling of greater control. Another contribution to driver control is made by these new support struts, which eliminate any fore and aft movement of the front wheels. And elimination of brake dip is accomplished by this angular mounting of the upper control arms. They counteract the usual tendency for a car to nosedive as it stops. Now, it's true that the new torsion front suspension gives you many dramatic showroom selling points for DeSoto's Torsion-AIRE ride, but the rear suspension contributes just as much that's new. These Outrider rear springs are new. They're 58 inches long, 3 inches longer than last year's. The wax-impregnated inserts minimize friction and prevent squeaks. They're mounted on outriggers on the outside of the frame side rail, and the rear axle is mounted well forward of the center of the spring. The longer leaves give softer springing, but because the axle is mounted well toward the front of the springs, and because an extra half leaf is used ahead of the axle, the springs have an effect like a stabilizer bar. Of course, up front there's a regular stabilizer bar to help keep the car level and easy to control on any road. Now let's take a look at the 57 DeSoto's rugged backbone, probably the strongest, toughest, most untwistable frame that ever supported an automobile. This frame has been designed to squelch every last ounce of twisting force, side sway, and shearing action. Notice how wide and heavy the side rails are, and notice that they're full box sections for the entire length of the frame. That gives them what it takes to ward off even a crashing blow from the side. There's a new cross member in front, too, which helps to tie the side rails rigidly together. Now, there's one big selling feature we haven't mentioned. This car is quiet. You ride on sound-deadening rubber in more ways than one. For example, the body mounts are cushioned in thick rubber. No vibration can travel from frame to body. The entire front suspension is isolated by rubber. There's rubber at each of these arrows to absorb noise and vibration. Of course, this use of rubber in the front suspension reduces the number of lubrication points to 8. Just 8 instead of the 23 points that had to be greased last year. There's more rubber on the ground, too, in new tires that put the finishing touches on that softer, yet firmer DeSoto ride that is sure to be the sensation of the industry in 1957. That's where we got the Air in Torsion-AIRE ride. This wider, softer, lower pressure tire carries just 22 pounds of air pressure. The new tire soaks up small bumps far better than the old type that some cars will use in 1957. This adds more comfort to the new DeSoto. And because it's wider, it gives better traction for starting and stopping. There's more rubber in contact with the pavement. An improved tread pattern also makes these tires quieter. The tires are mounted on new 14-inch safety rim wheels. The rims are 6 inches wide this year, rather than 5.5. The wider rim gives the tire sidewalls stronger support. Put them all together, front suspension, rear suspension, frame and tires, and they spell a new experience in comfortable riding. The new Torsion-AIRE ride for easy control and safe handling. Give your prospects the opportunity to experience for themselves the thrill of the new Torsion-AIRE ride, and Torsion-AIRE will help you sell DeSotos in 57. You've probably gathered by this time that the big DeSoto sell this year will be on styling and on ride. We have the most excitingly beautiful car in the world today, and we have the most nearly perfect ride. But the all-new DeSoto has brand new power and performance, too. Both of these big DeSoto engines have a compression ratio of 9.25 to 1 and a displacement of 341 cubic inches. Last year's compression ratio was 8.5 to 1 and displacement was 330.4 cubic inches. More torque for sudden takeoffs, more power for all-day cruising. That's what those figures mean. They mean that the driver of a new DeSoto won't have to breathe anybody's exhaust. Now, when you raise the hood, probably the most noticeable new feature is a completely different air cleaner alongside the carburetor. The old oil bath type on top of the engine is out. The new air cleaner contains an easily replaceable micronic filter. This is the same kind of filter that all racing cars use, because it has been proved more effective than any other under the most grueling conditions. And, of course, the broad, squat shape of the new cleaner let the designers lower the hood of the new car. Another feature you'll notice is the big, rugged, cylinder-shaped engine mounts. These damp out engine vibration and help give you a quieter, pleasanter ride. Fireflight and Firedome engines will be identical except for the carburetor. On the Fireflight, it will be 4-barrel to provide maximum power under all conditions. On the Firedome, it will be 2-barrel for gas economy. But here's even bigger news for drivers. The wonderful new triple-range TorqueFlite transmission, which will be standard on all Fireflight models, optional on the Firedome. TorqueFlite will work hand-in-hand with the bigger engine to produce smoother power and a lot more of it, especially at getaway. For TorqueFlite is a 3-speed automatic transmission. 3 speeds for faster getaway, better engine braking, and greater convenience. The new triple-range push-button control panel tells the story of TorqueFlite's convenience and simplicity. The buttons are easy to reach, easy to see, and for almost all driving, the 3 big buttons are all a driver will need to use. Push the D button, and the car starts in low. At from 10 to 40 miles an hour, depending on how much gas you give it, the car automatically shifts to second. At from 15 to 75 miles an hour, it shifts to high. Buttons 1 and 2 are for heavy pulls or for downhill engine braking. Push in number 1 and you'll stay in low. Push in number 2 and you'll start in low. Then at 10 to 40 miles an hour, the car shifts to second. You'll stay there unless you run it up over 75, at which point an override shifts the car into high. There's a kickdown for quick passing, of course. At any point between 25 and 70 miles an hour, you leap ahead in second gear. Below 25, kickdown takes you directly into low. That's how TorqueFlite works. And what it does, wow, any driver with itchy feet can take off like a jackrabbit when he's behind the wheel of a new Fireflight or Firedome. These are the most excitingly responsive cars in the world today. The TorqueFlite gives Desoto 6.6 to 1 breakaway ratio. Last year it was something like 4.47 to 1. And on top of all this, the rear axle ratio has been lowered to 3.36 to 1 for better gas economy. And the axle itself is heavier and stronger with a newly designed 2-pinion differential. Okay, now this body is new, but you don't need a slide film to tell you that. What's under that beautiful skin can be pretty important, though. And that's why you'll be glad to know the new Desoto body is more rugged and better sealed than ever before. Take this windshield corner post. It's thinner for a better-looking car, but it's also stronger because it's a box section that's reinforced on the inside. The center post is thinner, too, but again, it's box section, so it'll hold those doors rattle-free for years. These cross braces behind the rear seat are more rigid, and they're welded to the floor. The instrument panel and cowl panel are stronger, but these are only examples. All in all, the body has been made more rugged at 12 different points. It's virtually shake-proof, doors and trunk lid fit solidly, and dust and water are sealed out. Of course, there are many new features that will add to the thrills and excitement, the comfort and pleasure, the pride and satisfaction of owning a Desoto. For example, the windshield is 31% bigger, and on sedans, the rear window is 20% bigger. The new Vista View windshield is immense. And just to make sure that the wonderful new visibility is all-weather visibility, wiper blades have been lengthened to 16 inches. They clear 38% more glass area. Incidentally, on this Fireflight 2-door Sportsman, the rear window is carried 8 inches farther up into the roof panel. This exclusive styling feature increases glass area 64% over the 56 2-door Sportsman. For cold weather driving, the driver can turn these louvered openings and channel the defroster air wherever he wants it to go. In addition, a rear window defroster will be available at extra cost. A new 6-way power seat will be available for those who want the very last word in custom-tailored comfort. It moves forward and back 5 inches. It moves up and down 2 inches. And the seat cushion and seat back can be tilted from an upright position to a reclining position. And an important safety measure has been added to the rear seat. The cushion is locked in place, so it can't be thrown forward in case of a sudden stop. The electrical system is completely waterproof, assuring quick starts and dependable operation of all lights and accessories regardless of weather. And still another example, the fuel system is protected by 2 filters, a new plastic mesh filter in the gas tank and a ceramic filter at the carburetor. The Desoto engine gets a clean fuel supply all the time. And finally, the brakes. Desoto's total contact brakes use the revolutionary center plane principle. These big brakes have been redesigned only to make them work at the same peak efficiency with the smaller safety rim wheels. The brakes themselves are the same size as before. They have 251 square inches of rivetless brake lining, and they measure 12 inches in diameter by 2.5 inches wide. The unique center plane design makes all the lining area contact the drum for the easiest, smoothest, most dependable brakes in the world today. Now, notice that this 57 stopped in less space than the 56, as well as stopping without brake dip. Tests prove that no other car can stop as fast with as little pedal pressure or be so completely free of grab and squeal or give such sure straight-line stops time after time. Total contact brakes add stop power to match Desoto's mighty go power in the car that may well be called the most excitingly engineered automobile in the world today. The 57 Desoto is a truly great car because it has been completely redesigned and rebuilt from rubber to roof, from bumper to bumper, to complement and serve the exciting new Desoto forward look. The new ride tells the story. The new power tells the story. The new comfort and convenience tell the story. Desoto is the most exciting car in the world today.